Hey guys, how y'all doing today? This is a short visit. It appears that Facebook made it impossible for me to download these, and so I can publish them, but I can't get them back. I'm not gonna do that. That would be like giving them products.
Back now to the warmth inside my home.
So
I won't let your
we're giving this a shot.
get me down. I finally found the will to live my life, fulfill these new dreams of wibblery and wow. These strange words I've stuck inside my head. I met with death and remembered how to live. And I'll do my best to give. With purpose I can live. New dreams of wibblery and wild. Now all those painful times, they take their toll.
You know what I mean, don't you?
But would you rather live in hurt and not live at all?
Very important point.
At last I feel and see the beauty staring back at me. A life of wibblery and wild.
Good morning, Tim.
A
Shana,
life
welcome.
of wibblery and
Hey
wild.
guys, I'm still hoping you're gonna put something together. Shana,
A life
and family.
of wibblery and wild.
Hey Tina, I'm doing good. Had a little trouble. Couldn't download that other video I made. Couldn't get it out to more people. Cut my traffic back. Hey Jonathan. Yeah. It might be the last live video on this one, because if I can't download it and put it out in other places, that makes it proprietary property of Facebook only. I don't like that. See, a lot of people won't come and visit Facebook. They don't like it. So it's bad enough maybe 1,000 people will see this video out of 72,000. So my product is already being locked down. Hey Roger from Iowa, nice to see you. Chilly up there, I think. Mike, nice to see you. Hey, you get that contract, Mike, on that property? He's one of the guys working on some project here. Sherry, nice to see ya. I've been to Rumble. Sherry, nobody even knows I'm there. I put stuff up, I wasted time. Nobody looks at it. Same thing with Brighteon. And from what I can gather, nobody's got any traffic. You know? So I get 40 people over there, or maybe 1,000 out of 72,000 that signed up over here. Oh well, just trying to give away millions of dollars. It's nothing, right? No big deal. Why should Facebook try to help anybody out, right? Now, if I pay them, I think $15,000, they'll actually send out a notice to everybody that's following. Yeah, that's not too bad, huh? Maybe. Not necessarily. Tracy, how you doing? Rose, love your stuff, Rose, by the way. I've been reading quite a bit of it, although I'm running out of time. I need to get my walking in. That's why it's nice to do this little thing when I'm walking. So today what I'm doing is testing. I'm going to see if I get done, if they let me download it so I can copy it. If I can't copy it, I can't download it. I can't put it on Rumble. I can't put it on YouTube. I can't put it anywhere else if Facebook won't let me have my copy, which is what happened last night. Yesterday, all day long. Normally I can go over there and click and it says download. And I can download it on my computer, make a copy for me, and then I can put it on YouTube or Rumble or anything I want to. But as of yesterday afternoon, that is no longer the case. As of yesterday afternoon, they own my property now. I'm not happy with that. I gotta close the store. I'll be right back. Boom. So, what I'm looking at right now is I don't mind playing with the poison of the beast and trying to feed it to them and kill Facebook with their own poison. But I want my copy. Hi, Deborah. Nice to see you. So the game of this is how do we go ahead and not get kicked off, not get censored, and still be able to play on this stupid little platform. In my fantasy world, of course. Not in reality. We only talk about fantasy here because that damn sure get me kicked off, right? Hey, Tina. Tracy, nice to see you. No, not TikTok. I can't do that yet. I get this little problem. I got a problem with something sending off all my information every time I happen to send out a TikTok. It sends out stuff back to CCP. It's too much underlying stuff there. I still have a problem with that. Unless they can prove to me it's safe. It's a bunch of stuff, right? Nah, copyright doesn't do any good in this day and age. If you gotta try to sue, you gotta try to sue somebody. Yeah, sue Facebook. I had a partial patent, 2% interest in what was called, remember after the jewel cases for CDs, they came out with a soft shell case that you could bend, and you put your CD in there. And I had a 2% interest in that, and I watched 3M. Yeah, 3M, big company, take a knockoff. And the guy that invented it, that I had a 2% interest in his invention, he died of a heart attack after watching it just be taken off and put on the shelves, an almost identical copy, and not have the money to be able to afford to sue 3M for copying him. Yeah. The justice system just is. It just is who's got the money taking advantage of who doesn't got any money. That's the justice system. Just is what it is. If you expect more than that, like I did once a long time ago, I got in my own lawsuit with a partner who thought he could sue me for stealing $500,000 out of a $250,000 budget. Notice the numbers don't work. You can't take $500,000 away and still make $200,000 profit each off the money invested, which I did all the work. He didn't. And so he sued me. And I found out the justice system is nothing but who has the most money to pay for the most lawyers. And the insurance companies duck and dodge and get out of the way. And that leaves the guy with the least money losing, generally. That's not the justice system. That just is the system. And the just is the system is not a good system. As you might have seen in our newest election in the last chapter of the book of Wibblery and Wub, how the just is going to be this way system wouldn't look at fraudulent voting and wouldn't look at all that stuff. Hey, Bets. Yeah, Telegram isn't censored, but man, there's nobody on there. I'm over in Telegram. I got nothing. I got nothing on Telegram, too. I didn't get it. I mean, I spot some of your names, but that doesn't mean I can post anything over there. I can't post anything with it. Nobody's looking. I don't exist. Eraser board. Anyway. Yeah, I almost went into the legal world once upon a time because my English American Lit degree was good to go get a law degree with, and that's all it was good for. And so I almost thought about going to get a law degree back when my son was born. I was 30-something years old, and I found out you had to cash in your conscience to get your degree. Wait a minute. Yeah, there's no right or wrong. What? No, there's no right or wrong. It's just who has the most money and who can afford to buy the right judge and happen to know who he needs to have paid off so you can go ahead and win your case. No, that can't happen. That can't be real. Well, I just watched an election that proved it's possible. Anything is possible. Liars and cheats can win. I learned that. Actually, I had the guy who was suing me was a lawyer, and he actually wrote a letter to the judge trying to get the judge to change his mind without going back to court. And the judge wrote him a letter, said, I could have you disbarred. You know you're not allowed to do that. So I went to my lawyers. I said, let's go ahead and sue him and have him disbarred. No, we can't sue another lawyer while we're in the midst of a lawsuit. But he just committed an unethical act that the judge even said he should be disbarred for. Nah, not a problem. And then he lied, and we caught him actually lying on the stand under oath. And I went to the police station. I said, hey, I want to press charges for perjury. And they laughed. They got the biggest laugh out of me. And I said, no, seriously. I mean, this guy just lied. I got a tape. It shows it. He even recorded the tape. No, I took it to the state board, the board of Texas for lawyers. Said, here's the evidence. He lied on the stand in front of the judge. He's an officer of the court. He knows he's not allowed to lie on the stand. He did it. It's perjury. No, not really. He just kind of twisted the truth in such a way that it was a lie, but it was okay to lie that way. No, I don't get it. It was okay to lie that way. I was amazed. And then he slandered me and went to my bank and said to the banker the president of the bank, that I had bought land in Bastrop County and I was raising pot, growing marijuana on land I had bought with the bank's money. Well, A, I didn't own any land in Bastrop. I wasn't raising any pot on any land I owned. But the banker, needless to say, was a little concerned. Stop making loans to me. Yeah. And so, guess what? I ended up suing for slander. Then his insurance company kicked in and started paying for me. And I spent $10,000 to find out that it's not a good thing to sue for slander. Because it costs a lot of money to sue somebody for slander. My God. So, when it comes to law, guys, and doing something about what Facebook is doing, somebody got money, they can go for it. I don't. So all I got to do is work with loopholes. My specialty, loopholes. So, hey, Ron. So what I'm trying to do is Sidney Crowell. Yeah. We all got to get together somehow and figure out how to get around a system that basically works in favor of the bad guys at the expense of the good guys. And if you don't have a lot of money to expense, you just aren't going to win in court. The court is not set up for that. So we're trying to come up with loopholes. How do you go ahead and do this without having to go ahead and use lawyers? In one case, I had to dissolve my corporations and move my real estate into my personal name because I tried to defend myself in front of a judge against a bank. And they had threatened to have me arrested for pretending to be a lawyer for defending the corporation that I owned all the stock on and I was all the officers on, I was all the employees on. But because it was a corporation, I needed to be a certified lawyer to represent it in the court or be arrested for impersonating a lawyer. Like anybody would want to impersonate a lawyer. I just wanted to defend myself. I don't want to be a lawyer. Never, ever, ever. But as a personal individual, I was able to cross-examine the attorney and basically have him state under oath that the testing that they were saying was valid and prove there was no contamination of the property, in fact, was an outright lie. I couldn't prove that part, but at least I could have him state the lie under oath for later. Right? Bank, we'll be back. Anyway, Governor Cuomo just told what? Media that one of the women alleging violations is a sexual assault victim in order... Oh, wait a second. Yeah, by the way, sexual assault. I have no doubt there's probably some really strong, valid evidence that that character is not a nice guy, and he probably did these things, and I hope they hang him. But again, for those ladies to get the attorneys, to be able to withstand what's about to happen to them, the legal barrage coming at them, the threats of slander suits against them, they have to defend themselves, the kind of money it takes to get out into the public arena and sue somebody or to be sued is staggering. And if you don't have the money, you lose. You got no attorney. You got no excuse. Because, you know, if you're right, you're going to have money, right? You'll have money for lawyers. If you're wrong, you won't have money for lawyers. That's, I guess, a rule written in a Bible or something. Because only good guys win. Never bad guys, right? Okay, so I wandered off, and this is all about why. Because you're going to find out, if you do these little tiny villages, you're going to end up with these legal issues. Like I had kids here that I allowed to come here. I fed them. I gave them electricity. I gave them water. I gave them a place to live. And then when I said, no, I can't stand your crap anymore. You're doing your drugs. You're sitting there, staying up all night long and sleeping during the day. I can't have you here like that. That's not the deal. And then I had to go ahead and go to court and pay $450 each to file against them, eviction. And then I had to wait 30 days and let them live in my property, running around all my tools, all my everything available, even had them try to get me arrested for making terroristic threats on a text saying, Jerry, you nailed yourself, last nail in the coffin, you're in the inside, screwing it shut with a battery-operated screw gun, and you're running out of batteries. I won't be able to save you. That was a text in the middle of the afternoon. And the police were using that as a terroristic threat in order to try to arrest me later on that evening, based on a text. The other text was, Eric, if you steal or vandalize my stuff, I will hang you with the sheriff's department. I will hang you is a terroristic threat. Yeah, according to those kids. And the police officers, not the prosecuting attorney or anybody that would have prosecuted it, who are out here on Friday night trying to put me in cuffs and in jail for that. Nah, I didn't go. But they actually made an attempt to come back out here without a warrant and pick me up at 11:30 at night to put me in jail. So I'd be in jail for the weekend until Monday when they would have had to let me out on bond or bail, or just for the fact that the prosecuting attorney wouldn't prosecute because they never even confiscated the phones or did anything. So be careful who you bring into your space. It's not that easy to get rid of them. On top of which, they had 3 different police cars out here when they had 31 days they were allowed to stay before they left. On the 31st day, Eric, one of the gentlemen who I let stay in an RV, you know, those little RVs, you know, little trailers, I let him stay in one for months, free, along with electricity, a power cord going out 400 feet to this little trailer he was living in. And so on the 31st day, he dumped the cat litter out on the table in the kitchen before he left the trailer, sitting there, rather stinky. And so I went over and got my toy and put about 4 truckloads of dirt on top of it after I crushed it down to pancake thinness, and then put flowers and grass on top of the mound and left. And not soon after that hour, the constables showed up because they were going to go ahead and put the final eviction. And I wasn't allowed to move it or do anything to that trailer, even though it was mine, but he was living in it for 31 days. And it was the 31st day. But the officers, when they came to put up the little sticker, said, get out. Now, they had come once before, 30 days before, to go ahead and give the man notice, because you have to do that. You have to give him notice. You have to give him written notice. The judge had to send somebody out and put a sticker on the darn trailer. And actually, while the sticker was being put on, he was knocking on the door of the trailer, and the man, who was Eric, was sitting inside of it, refused to come to the door to be served notice to move out. We knew he was in there. We talked to him right through there, but he wouldn't come out. So when they came back and there was a crushed mound with grass and flowers and a big sign on it that they had brought with them, that I decided it was a good place to use it. It said Glory Hole on a 2-foot by 4-foot piece of plywood. Glory Hole. So I put that on top of it. There was a hole at the top where the stack was sticking out from the trailer where I buried it. But anyway, they decided to call more officers out, and by the time they'd done, they had 7 officers out because they wanted to arrest me for moving the trailer. Well, I never moved it. I just shortened the stature of it dramatically and piled many loads of dirt on top of it successfully. You can hardly tell it was there, but you can tell it was there. And that was legal, actually. So they ended up not being able to do anything. But man, it's a lot of trouble just to get rid of 3 people that you did nothing but try to help. One kid had been here for 5 years. He had 2 degrees, came from a very rich family in Hong Kong. I will never be that rich. That's how rich. And he lived here for 5 years, used my equipment, loaned my truck to go work for people, made money, never put any money in. So when you go to start your little villages, why am I putting on this little thing right now? I mean, I get to take this down. I mean, I get to do any more of these because I'm not going to do them for free. For Facebook. I'll do them for free for the world, but not for Facebook. So, I'm about to get off, but these are my warnings today. If you're going to start a tiny village, one of the things that I'm going to try to help you do is anticipate some of these traps of evil people coming in and refusing to leave. It can happen. I have other stories I'll tell you later on. Yeah, a nice young lady who came. Did you know that crazy people are allowed to have loaded weapons in the front seat of a car in Texas? And you can't do anything about it. Yeah. The police officer told me that. I thought you couldn't have a loaded gun sitting next to you like that. And he said, no, you can have that. And I said, but if you look like you're obviously a crazy person, no, you can still have it like that. What about a gun permit? No, I don't need it. So, be careful. Because you don't really, this whole thing about taking everybody's guns away, well, how am I going to protect myself against that person who's in that car that's a crazy person who's got a loaded gun in the front seat if I don't have access to a weapon when they decide to get out of the car and use it? Oh, well, they would never do that, would they? Actually, they were of the sort, yes, she was, that would. I know. She also called the police because I wanted her to leave. Just drive away, go. Yeah. You can't necessarily get rid of people as easy as you think you can once you invite them to your property. This is my precautionary tale, version 1.0. Okay? God, all you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get off so I can see if it's going to record and if it's going to basically allow me to download it. I got around all their other ways of trapping me and cutting me off, and now we're going to try this other way. The concealed carry bets, it's okay, but the problem you get into down here is if you put your name on a list and they know you have weapons, and you're supposed to list all the weapons that you have when you do that, that's kind of a, Pokemon, how do you find a weapons list? I just assume not register if I were to have one. Of course, talking heads that are imaginary digital creatures, we don't have guns. Nah. But if I did, I'd highly recommend a few that I think are really great. Okay. Wow, 75 acres that includes strangers. Well, I'll tell you, that's in Sydney, this is very much a problem. We're all strangers. We're all strange. Any of us that really care. Because we who care, we're the honest ones, we're the truthful ones, we're actually strange in the world out there, if you haven't noticed. If you take 75 acres and you go to the far side of it, and you take 10 acres of it or 5 acres of it as an experiment, a social experiment, and you do a small group in there, not of so much strangers, but you have to screen them, check them out. Preferably go for some elders, mixed with some younger people. There are some good younger people out there, really. I know, in spite of the fact that I've yet to prove it very often and show you many examples, they are out there, and I do see them, and I do appreciate them. Oh, the firearms, yeah. But it is hard now, and I've had this problem over and over again. I've had people come in that look like perfectly normal people, and then I find out they're doing LSD, and I didn't even know, or they're doing meth out there, and I don't know about it. And they're not things that I'm just going to tolerate without some, like, holy cow, guys, we don't do meth here, we don't do crack cocaine here. We don't, no, I'm not going to want to arrest somebody. I don't want to throw them in, we don't have a jail. I want them to leave, go someplace else. If I have to go to court to get them to go someplace else, that means I got to tolerate that bad behavior for 30 days. Or I got to turn them into the police on my property. I don't want to invite the police into Salvage, Texas to do dirty work. So far, everybody's decided they wanted to leave without that. Hey, Tammy, nice to see you. You're going to have to learn how to negotiate people arriving and staying there. Yeah, throwing knives in the dark. She knows about my throwing knives and my hatchets. Yeah. Yeah, and there's also things like intimidation. Yeah, that works sometimes too. When people don't know how crazy you are, they don't necessarily want to stick around. And sometimes the middle of the night around here, it's dark. And so anything you do, you want to make sure you got enough people there to protect you from the people that might turn once they get there. Because some people look like the nicest, sweetest creatures in the world until all of a sudden you say, oh, I'm sorry, you don't make it, you don't fit in, you got to go. And they go, you don't like me? You don't like me? And then I turn into these monsters. Horrible monsters. I've had them actually pull guns. I mean, all sorts of stuff. So, it isn't just how do you start a community, it's how do you keep a community together, keep it safe for all the people there. In one case, I had 3 women who were living here tell me that the one man was making them very nervous, that they wanted him to leave. They didn't feel comfortable. Yeah, that's a tough one. He didn't take it well. Why? Well, I can't tell him because the women are uncomfortable. I can't blame the women for me telling them to leave. I'm in the man in the man position. I got to be the one to take the hit and tell him, and he was very upset. Of course, it didn't help. He had 2 tattoos, one right there and one right there. Guess what it said? You. The boy had a bit of an attitude. His daddy had gone to prison when he was 15. The police had bashed all the bones in his face with their flashlights when they arrested the boy at 16. He was full of attitude, proud to be a hobo, proud to ride the railroads, proud to drink 6-pack a day and make $75 an hour on the corner. Suckers handing him money. Bragging about how somebody brought him some McDonald's. He's about to throw it away, but he saw a 20 in the bottom of the bag. You go, wow. And I was trying to help him because somebody picked him up hitchhiking that was coming here. and said, oh man, you might give him a shower or something. So I helped him. I gave him stay for a few weeks. Got him off 6 beers a day. It was very difficult. But if they don't want to stop, if they don't want to do it, then you become the reason they're doing it, and then you're the one they get mad at because they can't do what they want to do, whether it's drugs or drinking. If somebody's not ready to leave it behind, my place is not where you come to leave it behind. Leave it behind before you get here. There are places I think that need to be open for people that have alcohol issues, that have drug issues. There are rehab facilities. I think those are great, providing you have counselors that are willing to tolerate the bad behavior and the bullshit, the childish antics that most addicts are dealing with. It's their personality problem that leads to their addiction. Lack of love for oneself. Lack of willpower. Poor habits lead to poor lives. So you have to change your habits. That takes work. This is all about creating villages where you can teach people this. Preferably teach kids this from the beginning. Chris George. I'm looking for a couple good people for off-grid. Where's out there? What's this way? 160 a month, 7%. Yeah, you know, dude, I'm not sure if you're going to find people going to pay you money these days to live out on your spaces. And also, once they put money in, this is a big issue. They come in there, they drop 11 grand on you. Okay, now, do you owe them? Do they have a right to be there on a technical basis? This can get really rough. So, if they put the money in, do they go into land or do they go into a structure? Do you have an obligation to refund it if it says, oh, no, you misrepresented it or anything like that? If you do, you get into legal battles. Legal battles that could tie your land up. Now, let's just suppose they get really nasty and they happen to trip and fall while they're there and hurt themselves seriously, at least in their mind. Seriously enough that you don't have to pay for the rest of their life because they can no longer leave because they are now crippled, thanks to you. Because you didn't do whatever they're going to claim you didn't do that caused it, making a negligence on your part. Now, assuming you have good insurance, which is a oxymoron, then you're going to go ahead and try to get your money to pay for the lawyers from someplace. Can you use their money that they gave you to do that with? There's some question there, because that may be their money still, because there may be some actual truth in what they're saying. And if you, for any reason or another, could be connected to saying that it was fraud, interstate commerce, where you actually brought them from another state using wire fraud in their case. All such things. Land contracts are horrible things to do. You don't want a land contract if you can do it. You want a lease and no land contract. In Texas, you can't even write a land contract anymore. It has to have a title policy. There's all sorts of stuff in Texas now. It got really complicated from when I was in the real estate business. That's how I made my millions when I was in my 30s, up to about 40, when I decided I wanted to see my son, because he was 11 years old. And if you're in the real estate business making millions of dollars, you aren't home. I was doing rehab at nights, fixing up houses and selling them in East Austin and doing real estate in the daytime and sales till midnight. The issue of the land contract is that if you do a land contract as owner finance, then you're on the hook if anything goes wrong. With a land contract, technically, you have some back liability for representations you made. And again, it's not till you get to court, get through the jury, get through the judge that you're for sure. Otherwise, you're in court until you get that for sure. And it's expensive to be in court. If you got a $20,000 piece of land and you spend $40,000 in court, you lost. Even if you get your land back, you still lost. Now, what determines that? What determines if you're going to lose? The jury. Your personality. How good is your attorney? It has nothing to do with the facts. We have liability waivers. If you're going to come on our property, you're going to stay in the houses, you're going to walk around, you're going to tour, you're going to go out in the caves, you're going to go down in the kayaks, you're going to go out in the water. You're going to sign a liability waiver. It's going to say, if I trip, if I fall, if I die, it is not the fault of Salvage Texas. It's not the fault of the owner of the property. And you agree to that before you go wandering around where you might hurt yourself. If you don't have that liability agreement, Chris, then they can go ahead and clean your whistle. Strategically speaking, with witnesses. they bring them with them. So the fall is well documented. In fact, sometimes they even help them. It helps to have a good injury, a little blood, and lots of pictures. You understand where I'm going with that, don't you? There's some really bad people out there. You do a land contract. Now you tied your land into the deal. Now, guess what? You can sell airspace. Yeah, Chris, listen to this trick. Because I'm going to do this again. I did it once. Didn't have many followers. Here's how we create a bank. You ready? I hope they let me download this and record it again. Okay. Land bank. Here's how you do it. Better than Bitcoin. You sell airspace from 1 inch above the ground. You can sell the air rights. You might want to start from 2 inches above the ground. Sell the airspace all the way up to heaven. 1 square inch of surface area in a column. So you're selling columns of airspace from the earth to the heavens. Nice. $5 a square inch. You want to buy 10 inches, that's $50. That goes into the land bank. Land bank meaning there's a bank in cyberspace for this cyber land, imaginary land. It starts above the ground. It's not real estate, so it doesn't tie the title up. Now, I'm going to rent this space to you, this airspace to you, with a few clauses in it, but the airspace allows you then to build what? You can build your house, your portable on Pier and Beam. You build this portable house on top of that space that you're owning for 50 years, 100 years. You can lease that airspace for 100 years. As long as you don't do bad things in it. There's some conditions. But now, once you've leased this airspace, you are now a member. So let's just say, for example, you want to have enough to do a house. Okay, wow, I want to have a 400 square foot house. Was 144 square inches per foot. 144 times $5. That turns into $500, $900 real quick per square foot. Oh, that's a lot. But I'm going to give you a discount. If you're going to go ahead and get more square inches, I'm going to give you a discount. And I like you. So I'm going to give you an extra good discount. Now, Chris, let's just say, for example, I rent you some space going from 1 inch above my ground all the way to heaven, and you build a house in there. Now, they don't want to take the house away. You can do that. It's portable. But also, let's just say, for example, you stick around. Now, you bought, that space going to cost you, what'd you say, $11,000? You can buy that, rent that space. Now, what happens? Here's the way I do it. Hey, Deborah, if you do that and you rent that space for 5 years or 10 years or 100 years, and let's say you spend $10,000 up front, what I'm going to do is give you $10,000 worth of materials to build that tiny house with that's going to float in space, your space. And you'll be able to come out here and use it and live in it, assuming you abide by all the rest of the agreements, such as you don't beat other people up, you don't steal, you don't lie, cheat, and act like those people in Washington, D.C. You know what I mean? And you're going to abide by the community standard, which it might be, not that you shave, obviously, or something like that, but that you maybe treat other humans like you want to be treated. Whatever the rules are for the community. That's why these are all outposts. They're all independent outposts. I'm not saying you need to open a Pure Salvage Living outpost that says that Jorge is king, or that, let's just say something really ridiculous like Biden were the president or something like that. You don't have to go along with that kind of garbage in your community. It's up to you. If you want to go and believe that he lied and cheated and stole the election, you can believe that in your community. I wouldn't deny that. And you wouldn't deny that of me either, would you? No. Because we like communication. That's part of this deal. So, what we want to do is to go ahead and be able to create these spaces. We have tiny houses. You can have maybe some, depending on your code. That's why I want to work with people about their land and let them know all the different little ways they can jab you after you get in there and get you arrested and cause life to be really bad. So, the HOAs are, that's a big issue, because then who's the enforcers in HOAs and stuff? And you got to have some sort of homeowners association, but it's actually a village agreement. It's a constitution. There was one called the Chaotic Constitution, which is kind of cool. It was how do you make organized chaos? That's the trick. How do you organize chaos? And so the Chaotic Constitution, which was done by a guy I think who created MasterCard, and it was a very good thing. because it allowed you to go ahead and make agreements that, hey, you can't come over here and beat me up, and I'm not going to go over there and beat you up. Hey, you can't come over here and stand outside my door and scream and yell all day long. That's not loud. That's imposing on me. So we have this Constitution. You violate the Constitution, I'm not throwing you in jail. You're gone. You're exiled. I like exile better than being imprisoned on the property and paid to eat, sleep, and do nothing all day long. That's corporate stuff. They can go sit in a corporate prison. So what we want to do is, I don't want to have a jail. I don't want to have police. I want to get rid of the problem. So that airspace that you're renting, boom, bye. You got to go. And luckily, your house is portable. We make sure every house is portable. Why? You don't own the land. You own airspace. And if we kick you out, you can take all that airspace with you and we'll replace it. We'll put new air in that spot. You can have all the air that's there at the moment you leave. And any air after that goes to the next guy. You get it? Okay, so all I got there for you at the moment, I've given you a bunch of goodies, but the big issue here is, again, if you're going to do a little village, be very careful about who you invite in. Because as everybody's trying to put this together now, this is the trick. Who do we have come with us and help us? Not the crazies. Not the wackos. I haven't seen how that works, so I'll have to take a look at that more a little later on. Issues with insurance, lots of problems with insurance. Most of them have exclusion clauses. You'll pay through the nose until the time you need them, and then all of a sudden they're not there. Airbnb, which we use because of their insurance, if you let the other person into the unit before you file the claim against the prior people, you don't get to file a claim. I did that once. They stole $1,000 antique mirror. It was horrible, and I had no claim on the people because they stayed in the house till 2:30, so the new people were anxious to get in because they're supposed to be able to check in at 1 o'clock. And so as soon as the new people were in there, we found out that the other people on the way out had stolen the $1,000 antique standing mirror in the bathroom. It was too late to file the claim. And I couldn't get the address because I was kind of anxious to go visit the people face to face, if you know what I mean. Yeah. But that's so you know. Again, you let somebody come to your place and stay there. You better have a plan for getting rid of them that's really good. Intimidation works pretty good, but at some point it becomes threats and dangerously close to getting in trouble with the police on your own property for telling people to leave in a forceful way. So, yeah, the landlord, the charge for the rental, that's right. You have to do it along with a certain amount of rent. The chores, no. Because we went to the judge, and the judge sat there and said, did you ever pay any rent? And they went, no. Did you ever pay any electric? No. Did you ever pay anything? No. Then why are you protesting him telling you to leave? Well, he can't tell us to leave. We don't have any place to go. The judge just said 30 days. And they had the balls to tell the judge, well, you don't know what you're doing. You can't do that. And he said, well, then file an appeal. $450. Well, they didn't. They just waited out the 30 days, and I had to tolerate them. And it's not comfortable when you have people you don't like that are possibly a little scary wandering around your property for 30 days trying to get you in trouble, get you in jail, or do whatever they can to make trouble for you. Including calling the environmental department afterwards and trying to have you turned in for your septic or whatever else. They'll do that. I've had them call the fire marshal in on me afterwards when they got kicked out just because, again, what can I do to attack that guy for cutting off all my benefits? Yes, insurance is an issue. Try to work your way around it and without it. I generally like to let everybody know that you don't want Brad to come back. Darby, I'm easy to deal with, but if Brad comes back around, you want to get the hell out of Dodge. Brad don't tolerate shit. He's a... Luckily, he doesn't come around very much, so we stay pretty calm and cool and easy around here. But if we got a problem and we need to put the word out, and he shows up, that problem's gone yesterday. You know what I mean. So anyway, I'm going to go just to see if this is going to work. Yeah, and Susan, I've said lots of prayers too, absolutely. You got to visualize the right people. Don't just visualize, I want people to come, I want people to come. No, because you'll get people to come. You got to be very specific. I want a mechanic who's a wonderful person, who has a good heart, who just fixes things and loves to fix things. I want a gardener who's a wonderful guard named Nerd that will blow the head off anybody who comes and steals our shit when we're gone. Those gardeners, a gardener is a great person to have. First one I recommend you get, a gardener. And then I want you to go ahead and, again, yes, pray, but also pray that within you got it, what it's going to take. Because the problem is, if you're the king or the queen of the land, no matter what goes wrong, you're the one they're going to want to blame. You can't have a king or queen. You got to try to form a community where there is no king or queen. There's a council. So I want you all to form these Pure Salvage Outposts to be councils of elders and younger people getting together to make decisions together. Hey, Lanky. There's one of our winners right there. So it's important that you get that council. You can't have just two people in charge, because otherwise they get on a drunk and they're going to tell everybody, hey, you just get your ass out of here, and they start becoming really crazy. You can't have that. The problem is, though, whoever is in charge gets the blame for anything that goes wrong. Doesn't matter. If somebody's got kicked out, they go, you kick them out. Why me? You're the guy in charge. Oh, shit. Oops. I'm not supposed to say that word. Okay, so I'm open. I want, the whole idea behind this is every one of these outposts has to go ahead and prove from some angle how you do this. There's nobody got it down pat. I've not seen or heard of an excellent example of a successful, intentional community. I've heard some stories, but I've also heard from the people that left there because of the sexual harassment, because having one or two pedophiles on the property cannot go well. And if one of those people is one of the top dogs, you got a problem. There's all sorts of issues. You don't want somebody who's an old-timer hitting on your new fresh wife, this fresh meat on the property. Yeah, that happens. Children, that happens. Please be aware. It's a scary world out there. Until then, guys, protect the little ones, protect the elders, protect the innocent. Love yourself. That way you can love them and help make a difference. I'm trying to give you all the tools. If you've got the calling, the ability, the history, that's what I'm doing it for. Get as many outposts as we can. Tina, if I ever get to be here and watch that book completed, maybe these stories will be in it. These people will be in it. It's a quantum story. It's being written into reality. Salvage Texas, outposts. That's the only way Darby's finished the story in the future. I'm trying to communicate it. I'm trying to make sure it happens the way he wrote it. It was a good story. Yeah. We make it through. Yeah. It's just not easy, guys. It takes some work. I hope you stick it out. See you soon.